So around 2017, you dropped out of trade school, quit your job, and moved to Winnipeg. What did everyone say back home? And did anyone try and sign you up for psychiatry?
I thought it was going to be the happiest day of my life, which it was a huge milestone in my life. The day that I quit, it was pretty emotional, but it was definitely a milestone that I'll remember for my whole life now. But for this year, say the next 12 months, I'm going to just be focused on doing more houses similar to this one that we're in now. I'll probably do 8 to 12 of these in the next year, 18 months, and then I'll probably be looking to graduate and start holding some multifamily at that point.
What is up, you guys? Matt McKeever here in Winnipeg again, and we're here with Damon, and he's got such an amazing backstory that I just wanted to dive into it and actually share it with you guys, because I get so many DMs from young, motivated individuals that they want to get into real estate, but they're in a market that's too expensive, or they can't figure out a way how to actually, get shit done. And I just love the attitude that you kind of showed based on your entire journey. So if you don't mind, lay it down for people. What were you doing originally out in BC? How did you get attracted to real estate investing? And then how did you find yourself in Winnipeg?
Yeah, so it is quite the story there. So I was living in BC, just outside of Vancouver. I used to work in the mining industry, so I was doing that for 7 or 8 years. And eventually, a few years into my mining career, I got offered an apprenticeship for millwrighting, which is an industrial mechanic. So I moved to Vancouver. I was going to the British Columbia Institute of Technology in Burnaby for the trade school. Just about to start my very first year of trade school. It was the day before my first day, and I saw an advertisement for a free range seminar that was just up the street from my campus. Now, I was brand new into the city. I didn't know anybody. I was there just waiting to start my first year of trade school, so I figured, okay, I'm just going to pop my head in, see what was going on with this real estate thing that was going on. It was free. I already had a rental property at the time, but didn't have a clue about real estate investing, business. I was just working in mining. So I poked my head in. It was about a 2 or 3 hour long seminar. The vice president, Richard Dolan, he was the speaker, told me about real estate investing, a lot of the opportunities available in real estate investing. And at that time, I figured that the trades was what I was going to be doing forever. I was pretty fired up. I knew I'd make about 6 figures for the rest of my career doing that. But when I was listening to some of the things that he was telling me about real estate investing, I started to think maybe the trades isn't the best thing. Maybe there's opportunity to make a lot more money in real estate. So it's definitely something that I was interested in then. So I went through trade school. I started going to all these other courses and seminars and hired some coaches and did some rich dad stuff and just started diving into the environment when I was still doing trade school, because I knew it was something that I was very interested in. And soon after, it was the end of 2017, I ended up flying from Vancouver out to Winnipeg. I'd been following a guy online, Stefan Aarnio, and he was hosting a mindset program. So I decided to come out for that, check it out. Really liked what he was saying. Had a chance to speak to a lot of his students that were here in Winnipeg attending the training. There was about a dozen of them, and at least 10 of them were all actively doing deals. I think every single student that was in the room was all actively doing deals. They were all flipping properties. So I figured, okay, well, this guy is the real deal. I'm seeing it now with my own eyes. I talked to a lot of people that are going through his programs currently that were all doing deals. So that was enough for me. I signed up for his bronze level coaching program. And shortly after that, I did my first deal out there in BC. Made quite a lot of money there with that. I made about $68,000 on my first deal that I did with the bronze program. So as soon as that happened, I knew, okay, there's a lot of money to be made here in real estate. This is something that I want to look into a little bit further. So I did some more deals out there. Stefan just so happened to be in Vancouver for a conference, or maybe he was teaching a course out there. So I approached him, lined up a bit of a dinner meeting with him there at the hotel he was staying at, and kind of asked him if he was looking for anybody, to hire on to come and work in his organization, because he was somebody that I really looked up to. I knew he was a really great guy to learn from. I was already doing real estate coaching with his company, and he sort of offered me an opportunity to come out here to Winnipeg to work with him. So as soon as I got the opportunity, I jumped on it right away. I'd already quit mining at that time. I did my first few deals, quit mining, got the opportunity to come come out here and work with Stefan, who's a really great guy to learn from in this space. So yeah, jumped all over that, moved out here. Now I'm working with Stefan's team as well as doing my own real estate deals with my own company here. So I've been out here since September. In the last few months, I've done 2 deals here just in the last few months. This is the second out of 2, and that's sort of how I became interested in real estate, and that's sort of how I came to be here in Winnipeg.
That's an awesome story. So there's a ton I want to unpack from that. So
yeah.
The first thing I'd love to unpack is going to that first RAIN meetup. Is that something you often did? Like, had you gone to other networking events? Was that something you were comfortable doing? Because I know there's a lot of people that get caught up in analysis paralysis. They never actually go out to one of the meetups because they feel like, oh, I need to be an investor before I can go out to a meetup for investors. So do you mind just kind of sharing, was that scary? And if it was, how did you get over that? Or
yeah, so that was my very first meetup, my first real estate meeting that I ever attended. And it was just sort of a fluke how I saw it. It was just up the street from my campus. So I almost didn't go, but when I saw it, it was my very first meeting. So it wasn't really scary. I did sign up for a membership with RAIN. I became a RAIN member that day or that weekend. I think it was a few $100 a month. You sign a thing up for a year or whatever it is there. So I became a member of RAIN. It was a little bit scary, but it was also very exciting because I thought that I had it made with the trades that I was doing, but now there was like kind of another variable in the equation that I was interested in. So it definitely piqued my interest. And from there, I just started taking all the weekend things that I could. I did turn into a bit of a seminar junkie, but it was very brief. It was only for a few months. And then I actually signed up for my first big coaching program with a company called Rich Dad. And even through that process, even when I was doing that, I was still working full-time in mining. I was doing the coaching stuff for the courses with Rich Dad. Plus, I was still going to all these other little 3-day things here, 4-day things there, because now I knew that real estate was what I wanted to do. I just needed to find an avenue that I was able to take to get where I wanted to go with that. So I went on a bit of a manhunt. I just was checking out all the different companies. I knew I was going to find something that would stick at some point. And then when I finally came across Stefan's stuff there, without a doubt, I knew that's sort of the way that I wanted to go, and that's been one of the main reasons why I've been so successful in real estate investing since the end of 2017 was because I did see Stefan and happened to get into his programs.
Cool. And so when you went to that first RAIN meetup, you mentioned you already had a rental property. So how did that all come about? And did you know what you were doing at that time? Like, how did you determine to buy that rental property, and were you making money with it?
Yeah, so good question. So the first rental property that I purchased, I didn't purchase it as a rental. I think it's similar to the way a lot of people get into the market. I bought that property because I planned to live in it.
Yeah.
I thought I was going to live in it forever. It was going to be my primary residence, so to speak, for years and years. And then that was in the Okanagan. Eventually, I ended up moving out of that property. I ended up moving to the Vancouver area, so I turned it into a rental just because I owned it. I didn't really want to sell it. So I threw some renters in it. It wasn't even cash flowing for the first probably 2 years. It wasn't really going hugely negative, but it was slightly negative for the first 2 years. Then eventually I was able to raise up the rents a little bit, and it turned into something that was sort of breaking even. Eventually it was cash flowing very, very slightly, but that's the way that I bought that particular property. Wasn't into investing at the time. I thought I was going to live in it forever. I just so happened to move to a different city, so I was sort of forced to turn it into
an accidental landlord.
Exactly. So I was an accidental landlord. Luckily I had really great tenants in there for the entire time that I had it as a rental. I rented it for a few years. So a lot of the same tenants were in there, very, very nice. There were 2 younger girls in there, both nurses, treated it very, very well, took very good care of it. So luckily I had good tenants. But yeah, it was a bit of an accident how I came into that rental property.
So another thing I'd love to break down for the audience, and correct me if I'm wrong, but so around 2017, you dropped out of trade school, quit your job, and moved to Winnipeg. What did everyone say back home? And did anyone try and sign you up for psychiatry? Because I know for a lot of us, we get caught up in this idea, or we get so concerned about what other people think, right? And that's a lot of life changes in a short period of time. So did family or friends present any friction?
Yeah, well, my family, they never presented any type of friction. My family's always been very supportive. Awesome. They've been like, they've seen the whole journey, so they knew how passionate I was about investing. They knew that no matter what I did, I was going to succeed at it and be, you know, happy doing it. The main static that I received was from my old coworkers and the old other trades guys in mining. They didn't give me too much static, but they were all saying, yeah, pretty much implying that, yeah, exactly, I'm a bit crazy. You know, I had it made, you know, the trade ticket there, you're going to make 6 figures for your entire life and everything was going to be great. So I did get a little bit of static from my coworkers that didn't really understand what I was doing. They don't really understand like the entrepreneurial mindset. They focus very heavily on things like security, you know, that guaranteed paycheck coming in, trading, you know, time for money, that kind of thing. And they just haven't really taken the time to learn that there's so much else out there. There's so many other opportunities available out there. They just sort of know what they know, and they just have been working in trades for so long, and there's nothing wrong with working in trades, but they just hadn't really educated themselves. They hadn't taken any other courses to kind of show them the other things that are out there. So for that reason, they were a little bit skeptical, and even some of them still are skeptical about what I'm up to now, even though they see that I'm doing very well and that I'm, you know, have a lot more freedom. I'm much happier. I'm not, you know, killing my body anymore. A lot of the guys that I did work with there, they're, you know, reaching retirement age. Yeah. A lot of them don't have any savings because in that industry you make a lot of money, but you don't really have the financial literacy to really be able to save. It's
a problem with everyone.
It is. So it's pretty challenging. And a lot of those guys, you know, really great guys, but a lot of them are, you know, in debt, you know, depressed, you know, they're kind of, a lot of them are divorced, and a lot of them are going to outgrow their savings by, you know, 20 years, even though they've made 6 figures for their entire career. So it's just a huge mindset shift. Really great guys. I still chat with a lot of those guys. I miss them a lot. I worked with them for quite a lot of years. So the day that I actually quit mining, I thought it was going to be the happiest day of my life, which it was a huge milestone in my life. But at the same time, it also was very emotional as well. The last time I drove down the hill from the mine, like I was almost crying, but I was like so happy and overwhelmed because, you know, when you're in trades, it's a very dangerous position. You're borderline dying with everybody like every month, so you're all very, very close. You put a lot of work in together, lots of hours together, like blood, sweat, and tears. So the day that I quit, it was pretty emotional, but it was definitely a milestone that I'll remember for my whole life now. Yeah,
that's awesome. I appreciate you sharing that. Yeah. So what's next for you? Like, what's the future hold? What's your long-term plans with real estate?
Yeah, so real estate, I'm just at the point now when I'm upgrading into the highest level program that Stefan offers. It's called his Platinum program. And the projection there, you're doing 12 deals in about a 12 to 18 month period. So it's a pretty high level program. So I'm just right at the beginning of starting that. I want to do a pile of single family homes. I'm not really looking to get too fancy right now. I don't really want to jump on a bunch of multifamily deals. I want to just keep on doing what I've been doing, do a bunch of smaller single family homes. Eventually I'm going to probably hold some multifamily stuff or even some single family. But for this year, say the next 12 months, I'm going to just be focused on doing more houses similar to this one that we're in now. I'll probably do, you know, 8 to 12 of these in the next year, 18 months. Bang 12 more of these out, and then I'll probably be looking to graduate and start holding some multifamily at that point. Yeah,
so the plan is to essentially do another, you know, 10 or 12 flips, build up a cash cushion, and then you're going to kind of pivot into buy and holds. Is that?
I think so, yeah. So, and that's sort of the blueprint that I got from Stefan. He's a big advocate for not really buying too many rentals until you have a nice cushion, and plus I want the experience of going through a whole pile of these houses. Just get the experience, get the capital, get the cushion, and then I'll feel a lot more comfortable with just starting to scoop up a bunch of units for buy and hold. I've been looking at multifamily lately, just doing a bit of homework though. I'm not seriously looking to buy, probably at least not for the next year or so, but I've been looking. I looked at some 29 units, I looked at a few 14 units, just kind of getting out and about and just having a look, but I'll probably pull the trigger on something like that maybe next year after I do some more single family flips.
Yeah, and so another question that I'm sure a lot of audience members have are, how do you learn a market in a short period of time? So essentially, like, it's not like you were born and raised here in Winnipeg. So any tips or suggestions on how to go about immersing yourself in a real estate market if you're going to move to a new city?
Definitely. So it's pretty important to track the city, or at least the area that you're trying to farm your leads in. If you're looking to flip in a certain part of the city, it's just good to know the areas, know the numbers for those areas. And I kind of had a little bit of an insider help from that because, you know, Stefan's been in this market for so long. All of the people that he works with, they've been flipping in this market for a long time. So they already have the city pretty well mapped out.
Yeah.
But the way that they map out everything, it's kind of like on a pretty high level. They know all the different zones, how much inventory is moving in each zone, how long things are sitting, how fast things are moving in those zones. So I was sort of a little bit spoiled. I had access to some of that data right when I first got here, but I still did do a lot of my own homework, a lot of my own due diligence as far as the areas. I know sort of the areas that you definitely don't want to be purchasing anything into flip. You know, there's a few areas that aren't very good that maybe still might make sense to hold some rentals in, but as far as flipping, you probably want to stay away. So I did some digging. You know, I grouped with some people from the local market that were familiar with the area, and that's what I would recommend if you are going to move to a new city, if you are going to start trying to flip in a new market. Definitely helps if you know people in that market that have experience in that market, kind of get together with them, pick their brains, ask the hard questions, and just figure out the best place for you to start farming your leads.
Yeah, so a lot of it comes down to your network, guys. I'm constantly talking about how your net worth is directly impacted by your network. Whether you're going to come to a new city and like maybe map onto someone's existing network like Damon here did with Stefan, or whether you're going to move to a brand new city, just start going out to those free meetups like he did at that first rain meetup. Honestly, there's so much information at these networking events. There's no sense in reinventing the wheel. So again, I'm going to push you guys, really recommend just go attend one free meetup this month in your city. You'll get so much value from it as long as you enter it with the idea, with the position that you're going to get value from it. So go there, chat with people, introduce yourself. The key is not to just go to one of these networking events and then sit by yourself.
Sit by yourself,
back, right? Because I'm sure you see it at Stefan's events all the time, people. And like the people that decide they're going to get value from these networking opportunities, they're the ones that get value from these networking opportunities. Thank you again much for spending the time with us and sharing your story. Any tips or suggestions for maybe any other young hustlers that right now are maybe in a job or a position they're not really loving, they're interested by real estate but they haven't pulled the trigger? Any tips or suggestions?
Most definitely. So just sort of what Matt mentioned, get out there, do some meetup groups. There's a lot of free things out there, a lot of good resources as far as kind of building a network. I mean, if I never would have went to that weekend, that free weekend, I would not be here today. I would probably still be mining. Maybe I wouldn't even be interested in real estate at this point. It was all because I just took it upon myself, put my head in the door, and you might be very surprised on, you know, the amount of value you do take out of that. So definitely do that. Another thing is there's a lot of really great resources as far as books and videos online. If you are interested in real estate investing, you know, grab some books, you know, learn a little bit about the fundamentals. There's a lot of great books out there to give you some information about some of the fundamentals. Might make you a little bit more comfortable to get out there and go to like maybe an event or maybe pay a few $1,000s and go to some type of course. But it all starts with some fundamentals. There's a lot of free material there. But at the end of the day, get out there, get to some free events, you know, even pay a few bucks, go to some events, network, you know, meet some people in your area that are doing the same thing that you want to do, and it's really all about building the network.
100% agree. So if anyone wants to reach out to you, what's the best way on social for them to get in contact?
Yeah, so Facebook, it's Damon Woodward, Damon's D-A-M-O-N, and Instagram, it's at Damon Woodward 3. So feel free, add my Facebook, Instagram. You know, I'm always posting things there. I'm always looking to network with other like-minded people. If you're into real estate or business or just anything really, feel free to reach out, add my social medias, and yeah, we can definitely chat if you guys have any questions.
Awesome. If you guys enjoyed this video, smash that like button, hit the subscribe button if you're new to my channel, and otherwise, until next time, remember, making money is a team sport. There's more than enough money in this world for us to all make it, but if you're not saving it, I mean, like, what's the point? Thanks, guys. Bye.